Hello! I'm Elaine, and I'm a tour guide in the French Quarter. I do ghost tours. And I am not going to tell you the stories that I tell on my tour, because you gotta pay for those. But if you want to hear some interesting things that have happened to me while I'm leading random drunk people around the French Quarter, I got you. One of the things about working in the French Quarter is you actually get to see a good number of celebrities. Partially because a lot of stuff films in the quarter. Like this last summer alone, we had Interview with the Vampire filming. The next Haunted Mansion movie, Joyride, was filming. There were like 3 TV shows filming at the same time. Like, there's a lot that films in the quarter because there's nothing in America that quite looks like the quarter. But also just because it's cheap to film down there. But that does mean that occasionally you'll just be walking by celebrities. I know for a fact that one of my friends was in a coffee shop and just Keanu Reeves was sitting in there and playing the guitar because he's Keanu Reeves, and she just went over and talked to him, and being Keanu Reeves, he was just sort of like, cool, let's chat. But also, sometimes celebrities are in New Orleans on vacation, because, yeah, celebrities are humans, and they get to come on vacation, too. And that means that, like, yeah, I've had Mandy Moore on a tour. She was a sweetheart. Jason Alexander came to a ghost hunt. He is also a sweetheart. The Property Brothers did one of my tours once. Like, I've met celebrities. The next Doctor Who I've met. Like, it's fun. But then there are some times that people think they've seen a celebrity, and they have not. There was one night I was doing a tour, and I was at the last stop, and another tour guide walks by, and she's a tour guide that we often share this location. She's usually there at the same time I am. She's a very nice woman. I've met her a couple times. I know her name is Grace, but the important thing you need to know about her is that she is an African-American woman. She is probably a few years older than me, I think. And she has relatively short cropped hair and a slightly, but not exceptionally gravelly voice. And that particular night, I'm not sure why, but she didn't stop her group. She just walked on by. And like she pointed one thing out of the building we were talking about, but kept going. And after she had left, I finished the story and I ask, as usual, any questions. And I have this one group who are like the epitome of tourists. They are wearing the 3-colored striped long sleeve shirts that you buy in all the souvenir shops that are Mardi Gras colors. They are wearing like a bucket load of Mardi Gras beads. They're like drinking daiquiris. They have fleur-de-lis on their bags. Like, they have sipped deep of the New Orleans tourism industry. And one of them leans in as if it's a secret and half whispers, but that stage whisper to me, like, oh my God, was that Tiffany Haddish? And I was like, I mean, I don't think so. I didn't look really closely, but I don't think she's in the city right now, sweetheart. And she was like, no, I've heard somewhere that Tiffany Haddish like comes down here a lot. I'm like, yeah, she does, but she doesn't lead tours. And I haven't gotten a chance to tell Grace that one of my guests thought she was Tiffany Haddish, but that was hilarious. I also had a guest one night that utterly insisted they had just seen Taylor Swift in one of the bars. And I was like, by herself? Like, just sitting at a bar by herself? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, probably not Taylor Swift. And on that note, I did have a group. Oh, God. This story, it still makes me slightly irritated. So I had a group that were all women. The majority of them were one bachelorette party, and they were all tall, beautiful, slender white girls. And this is important because, yeah, but also, very importantly, none of them looked like Taylor Swift. But we were walking down the street, and there's a drunk guy hanging out at a bar across the way. And as soon as he sees us, he shouts, "Hey!" And just fun fact, I don't think anything good has ever come of a drunk guy yelling, "Hey!" at a group of women. But we do what every girl does in this situation, which is pretend not to hear him and keep walking. But he shouts, "Hey!" again. And he does this like 3 times before he suddenly starts across the street. And that's the moment I'm like, oh no. So I sort of slow down to put myself in the position to intercept between him and the group. Cause it's my job. And he sort of steps up on the sidewalk directly in front of me, but he does not look at me. He looks at my group and goes, "Hey, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you, Taylor Swift." And I was like, excuse me, sir, like, I hate to interrupt, but we are on a tour. I'm leading these people to the next stop. I need you to go. And he was like, I ain't talking to you. And I was like, okay, but we are on a tour. And meanwhile, he's turning back to my guest, talking over, being like, hey, I want to talk to you, Taylor Swift. And I was finally like, sir, no, really, this is a tour. And at that point, I stepped between him and this one girl that he was getting aggressively close to. And when I did, like, there was plenty of room. He was a good, like, 3 or 4 feet away from us, but this was a clear statement of, like, no. And it seems he did not like being told no, because his response was to shove me away, while shouting, I ain't talking to you, bitch. And the thing is, I'm not sure if this was on purpose or not, but just his hand ended up cupped directly on my breast when he shoved me away. And this was not a light shove. Like, I went 2 or 3 steps back. And at that point, I snapped. I lost my temper, and I just shouted at him, you need to fucking go. This is not your time to talk to her. She is not Taylor Swift, and you don't fucking touch me. Which is not the correct response. Like, yes, it's good to stand up for yourself, but generally speaking, when dealing with drunks in the streets of New Orleans, you want to de-escalate, because you never know what weapon that guy could have hidden in his 2 baggy pants. And, yeah, it could have gone badly, but luckily it did not. He still kept trying to talk to quote-unquote Taylor Swift, who, by the way, had brown curly hair, but he let me sort of usher them all past him while I'm saying, okay, guys, don't look at the moron, don't engage, just keep going, he will disappear. And sure enough, we made it past him, and he just sort of turned and walked down the street. But needless to say, no, my guest was not Taylor Swift, and nobody on the tour thought she was Taylor Swift, except for random drunk guy. Though, interestingly enough, on the other side of that, I did a couple of weeks ago get out of my car, and Emmanuel Macron was just walking down the street across from me. And yeah, he had bodyguards, because celebrities tend to. That's one of the ways you know you have a celebrity, when there are bodyguards. But yeah, so come to New Orleans. You might see a celebrity, or you might just think you did. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to share your own experiences in the comments below.